Welcome to What's Your Story? I'm your host, Sherita Williams, and tonight I have a guest all the way from Australia. She is an author. She's a professional speaker. She's a sought after empowerment coach, and she's an entrepreneur. Please help me welcome Amanda Hill to the show. Amanda, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Amanda, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am totally blind. I have been since birth. I was born in 1970 and I was one of twins. And when we were born, we weighed just 1 pound 9 ounces and we're 10 inches long. And that's about the same size and weight as a half full bottle of wine. And we were very lucky to survive. Well, I was very lucky to survive. My twin sister didn't. And the reason I'm blind is because I was given too much oxygen at birth, but I'm very grateful to be here. I worked as a lawyer for 17 years after finishing school, government lawyer, and then I was laid off in 2014. Sold skincare for a while through a network marketing company. Then I retrained as a John C. Maxwell speaker, trainer, and coach. And it was then that I really started to search for my life's purpose. And I've come to realize that my life's purpose is to inspire and encourage others. So I do that through professional keynote speaking and through my writing.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. So for our viewers who don't know what redundant means, and I know you've explained to them that it's laid off, but how long were you on your job before you were laid off?
I was a government lawyer for 17 years and I always understood that being in a government job, it would be a safe job for life. That's what my parents told me. But then when I was laid off, our agency was downsized and they got rid of 6 of us. It was such a shock because I realized that number one, I didn't have a job, and number two, I was blind, and getting a job when you're totally blind is still not as easy as it should be. So absolutely. I was in a bit of a fix, didn't know what to do.
Yes. So what kind of impact? So was that the catalyst that started the change in your life?
Being laid off, yes, that was definitely the catalyst that started the change in my life. I was not particularly happy in my job, but I stayed there because I thought it was safe and I wasn't sure what else I could do. So then when I was laid off, I thought, well, gosh, this is my chance to start afresh. I have a clean slate here. What can I do?
Mm-hmm. So after, okay, so now you're laid off. Some people would think, okay, being blind would be your greatest challenge, but what do you consider your greatest challenge? Or I think your greatest challenge?
Oh, I think my greatest challenge is the conversations I have in my head. Definitely, it's a mindset game, particularly as a professional speaker. And before I wrote my book, I had a huge dose of imposter syndrome. You know, who are you to write a book? Only special people write books. Who are you? And then I realized I had a message. God had given me a message, and so I had to write that message down. And so that's how I got to writing my book. And now I speak that message of courage and encouragement out to people.
Okay. So we know that you wrote a book, and the name of your book is Seeing by Vision, Not by Sight.
That's
so
right.
If you just bring it down just a little bit below your perfect right there. So tell us a little bit about your book, Amanda.
Well, it's had a bit of a journey, this book. I wrote my first book in 2018, and that was a little 85-page paperback. And it was just a little 85-page paperback. And it was the kernel of how to discover your life's purpose, which is by examining your present, examining your past, and examining your passions and dreams. And then last year, I felt a very strong calling at the beginning of the year. Stop mucking around and be a speaker like I told you to. I got this calling, and it's like, oh, all right then. So I had a couple of gigs booked, and then COVID hit. And it's like, oh, what do I do now? And the message came back, prepare. So, okay. I thought, oh, maybe I'll write another book. I'll write a book about courage. And then I bumped into a book coach. He said, look, don't write a book about courage. Rewrite your first book and make it better. So the 85-page paperback is now a 250-page hardcover, and it has that same methodology of how to discover your life's purpose, but it also has tools which I believe you need to discover your life's purpose, which is building your courage, self-leadership, mastering your mindset, dealing with change, and even a little bit on managing your finances. And it also has the experience that I've gained in coaching a number of clients through that process, and it tells their stories in here as well. And it's also got nice little exercises that you can do.
Awesome. So what does courage mean to you?
Courage to me is mastering your fear. So it's mastery of fear, not absence of fear. And I think Mark Twain said that, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. So facing your challenges head on and just getting on and doing them.
So with you having your disability of being blind, do people often question, how can you encourage someone or have courage to do something because of your disability?
Oh, yes. I've never been asked how I encourage people. It's quite funny. People say to me, oh, you're so inspirational. It's like, no, I'm just living my life. I do something completely normal, like catching a bus or, going to university or something, and people go, oh, you're such an inspiration. It's like, no, not really. I'm just being me. But so I find it very easy to encourage people. And I had a bit of a revelation when I heard Nick Vujicic speak at a conference, and I thought, what would I say to him if I got to meet him face to face? And I'd say, oh, Nick, you're such an inspiration. And I had a bit of a chuckle to myself, and I thought, oh gosh, that's the thing that people say to me that I find really weird. But then I had a bit of a revelation. I thought, well, if people find me inspiring, then that's great. That's nothing to do with me. That's them. And if they find that inspiring, why not make the most of that and use that to get my message of courage across to them?
Absolutely. And WYTV7, which is this broadcast, is the network. The vision for WYTV7 is encouraging people, empowering people and educating people. So it's just, it's so beautiful that how your vision lines up with our vision. But please tell our viewers, how do you help people build courage?
I have a 5-step methodology which I use in my keynote talks, and it has the acronym of FOCUS. And F stands for feast your eyes on the prize, not the problems. O is optimize your goals for outstanding results. C is connect with your conviction for greater consistency and commitment. U is upgrade your courage for unbelievable results. And S is see your success by putting your courage into action.
I love that. So an acronym for that is FOCUS. So let's talk about optimizing your courage. How would one do that?
Well, you optimizing your goals. What you do is you break them down into bite-sized pieces. So you might have like a big goal of perhaps earning so much per year. So you would break that down to, how much do I need to earn per month? How much do I need to earn per week? How much do I need to earn per day to make this happen? And if you set meaningful goals and break them down into bite-sized pieces, then that makes the goals much less scary, much less audacious. And as you achieve those little wins along the way, it boosts your courage and gives you the courage to set bigger goals and achieve greater success.
So would you consider your book a how-to book or a book to inspire?
It's a bit of both. My story is sort of weaves its way throughout the book. But that's the inspiration bit, but it's definitely a how-to. It's a very practical book. It's got little exercises, and unfortunately I can't turn to a page to show you one, but it's got little exercises.
You can put it up so we can see it. Put it back up so we can see it. Yes, right there.
Yeah, it's got little exercises, so it asks you questions, and it's got lines on the page where you can write on them. And so it's a very practical how-to, step-by-step book. I reverse engineered the process which I took to discover my life's purpose, which was basically lying on my bed on a cruise ship one day, and God just took me back through my life, and he showed me the themes in my life which pointed towards speaking and encouraging and inspiring. And yeah, so I reverse engineered that into my 3-step process about how to discover your life's purpose. But there's definitely a lot. Chapter 6 is about courage. So that's all about, what does courage mean? How do you build it? How do you use it?
So, Amanda, we often talk about, when God puts a purpose in our life to do something, but, generally we're like, should we do it? Should we not? Then we'll go another way. Then that's something happen to make us steer us back or pull us right back in to do what God has called us to do from the beginning. How long did it take you to get a grip or to grasp that this is what you were supposed to do, that you were supposed to write this book?
4 years. It took me 4 years. I stumbled around. I coached people. I tried different things, and God, in his grace, he gave me some clients, but not many. He gave me some clients. He covered my bills. But then in 2020, he said to me, look, just stop messing around and do what I told you to do. I've given you the message. I will bring you the audience when it's time. I'll bring you the money when it's time. Just do what I told you to do. And it's been amazing. It's been like a weight. It's been lifted off my shoulders. And even though I haven't been earning any income since COVID, I've been, really preparing, and I'm ready to hit the ground running. And I've got this book and that I can, show to conference organizers, and it's lovely and shiny. And I keep picking it up thinking, is this really my book? Feels like something you'd buy in Dimmicks or Barnes and Noble or something like that. It's just a real proper adult book. So yes, he's been very good to me, even though I've been very slow in taking up his purpose. But my advice to others is, if God's talking to you about doing something, for goodness sake, do it. Because if you do it, then he will support you all the way. He will uphold you and guide you and bless you, and just do what he says. Be obedient. It's so much easier than trying to do it on your own.
Absolutely. I love your accent. So tell us where we can purchase your book.
You can purchase my book at seeingbyvisionnotbysight.com. And if you're interested in hiring me to speak, that my speaker website is at amandaheal.com. amandaheal.com.au. That's my speaker website.
Well, Amanda, we're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back after this break.
Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love Dry Farm Wines. I first met the man known as the healthiest wino on the planet back in 2016. He said his wines don't cause headaches or hangovers, and that he started his company because most wine consumed in the U.S. is highly processed and loaded with unnatural nasties. Like most processed food, it's toxic. That very night, I made a big health decision. Toxic wines out, natural wines in. It's been 4 years since I made the switch, and I feel great. Go to happyliving.com and select Partners in Happy to get your first bottle of natural wine for a penny. And I'll donate 8% of every order placed during the entire month of November to WYTV7. Share the gift of natural wine and pour some love this holiday season.
We're back with our guest, Amanda Hill. Amanda is an author. She is a keynote speaker. She's an entrepreneur. She is an empowerment coach. Please help us welcome Amanda back to the viewers.
Thank you.
Amanda, welcome back. So have you ever had someone and asked, how can I encourage you? Well, I have someone here, Amanda. She can tell us how you can be encouraged. She can tell us because she has an amazing book called Seeing by Vision, Not by Sight. So Amanda, tell us about some key points from the book.
Key points from the book. Well, there's a lot of key points in the book. There's this book will help you discover your purpose, life's purpose. This book will help you build your courage. This book will help you lead yourself and then lead others. This book will help you master your mindset. Deal with those annoying little conversations, which all the what ifs and the buts and the what if this goes wrong or what if that goes wrong. This book will help you build your self-belief. This book will help you build your gratitude. This book, if you end up going down the track of changing jobs or leaving your job to follow your dream, this book will tell you how to manage your finances and do that in the least risky way possible. So there's lots of things this book will help you do.
So with the approaching, where we are filming this in the month of October, and we know that October is National Disability Month for Employment. So we know a lot of people have, been out of work, and especially in the last 2 years with the grim of this pandemic. How can we help people, overcome or be encouraged in the midst of such horrific tragedies or this pandemic?
Well, I've suffered as well, so I can relate to how people are feeling. I felt very much afraid and anxious and stuff. And God said to me right back at the beginning last year, he said, you do your best and I'll do the rest. And I've hung on to that phrase all through the pandemic. And I've done my best with mask wearing and hand washing and getting vaccinated and all those things. And I feel that because I've done that, he's doing the rest. He's protecting and guiding. And so we all have courage, despite our fears, despite our fear of COVID and everything else. Dig down deep inside and find that courage that you have and hang on to it and push through that fear and do what it is that you need to do. Don't focus on the problems. Feast your eyes on the prize, not the problems.
Absolutely. So Amanda, why did you write the book and who did you write the book for?
I wrote the book because I just had this message burning in me, dying to get out. And I discovered my life's purpose, and I'd had the joy of doing what I had been created to do, what I've been put on this earth to do. And I wanted to share that joy with others. And so this book is for anyone who is feeling that they don't know what their purpose is. They've got a purpose, but they don't know what it is. This book is for people who are feeling discouraged, perhaps they're unhappy in their jobs, perhaps their children have left home and they're suffering from empty nest syndrome and they don't know what happens next. This book is for all sorts of people, anyone who is looking for a purpose, who's looking for a direction or a vision, perhaps a new vision for 2022. It's for lots of different people.
Absolutely. And with the onset of Christmas coming up, this would be a great stocking stuffer for all of our viewers to go out and purchase the book. And Amanda, again, I want you to tell us, where they can purchase the book. But I also want you to speak now to our young people who feel like, oh my gosh, I am invincible. I have plenty of time. Do their purpose stay the same, or does that purpose change in life? What do you feel on that?
I believe your purpose is the same. It's usually something very broad. So mine is to encourage and inspire. So I could do that many, many different ways. So your purpose stays the same, but the way you live it out changes. So inspiring and encouraging people, I just used to do that just generally. You know, someone would go, oh, you know, I'm having such a bad day. And I'd go, oh, you know what, it's not that bad. Why don't you try doing such and such, you know? So just generally in conversations, I used to do that. Now that's become much more refined. And I do that through speaking, through this book, and through, you know, various, being on podcasts like this. So it's discovering your purpose. The sooner you discover your purpose, the sooner you can start living it out, or deciding which way you would like to live that out, trying different ways of doing that. Because when you do, gosh, it's my purpose that gets me up in the morning. It's my purpose that keeps me going when I feel tired. It's my purpose that gets me out catching buses when I feel afraid. It's just so good living out your life's purpose. It just adds another dimension to life, makes it so much more exciting.
Absolutely. You know, and, you know, we talk about, you know, in Jeremiah 29:11, you know, it talks about the plan, our purpose that God has for us, you know, to prosper, you know, in the latter parts of our lives. And so, and that's why I love that scripture, because it talks about our future and what we can do. But for the people who are feeling hopeless or feeling lost, what would you say to them?
You can do this. You do have hope. You do have a purpose. You do have courage. You just have to dig down and deep inside and find it. Ask God where it is. Ask God what he wants you to do. Where there's life, there's hope, and success is courage put into action. So just find that courage, find that purpose, find that hope, and you'll be okay. I promise you, you'll be okay.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to the title of your book. Your name of the book is Seeing by Vision, Not by Sight. And I think that is such an inspiring thing, especially because you're blind. And that's why I encourage our viewers to go out and buy your book, purchase this book. But for you to actually say, you know, the seeing by vision, not by sight, from a blind person, I think that does something, it does something for me. You know, I'm going to go out, I'm going to purchase your book. But with that title, how did you come up with that title? I mean, I know you're blind, and I know you don't have blindness, think about blindness all the time. I know you don't. That's just a part, that's a condition that you have, not who you are. So how did you come up with the title?
Well, I was tossing around some titles with a coach when I wrote my first book, and my first book was called You Don't Need Sight, You Just Need Vision. And then I was talking to this wonderful lady, Regina Green. She's a most amazing lady. You should have her on your show. She'd fit right in with that. We were just tossing around words, and she kept saying it's got to be something to do with vision or sight or something. And then I thought, well, you don't need sight, you just need vision, because vision comes within. Vision is a dream. I had a dream, and when you have that dream, when you have that purpose, you have that vision. So then when I was rewriting this book to make it what it is today, my book coach said, you need to change the topics or the titles so it's got a doing word at the beginning. So seeing by vision, not by sight. That's how we came up with this title.
And tell our viewers how we can purchase this book for our Christmas presents.
Yes, so you can either go to amandaheal.com.au, or you can go to seeingbyvisionnotbysight.com. And either way, my book is there. It's $37.45 Australian, so it'll be quite a bit less in US dollars. And yes, the sooner you purchase it, the sooner it can be posted to you, and you can get it for Christmas. You can also order it in. Any good bookstore will order it in for you. It's on the Ingram Spark catalog. So it's also available as an ebook on Amazon.com.
That's nice. So Amanda, tell us what is next for Amanda Hill. Is it more speaking engagements? Is it another book? Tell us what's next for Amanda Hill.
I am absolutely hanging out to get on stages, get on virtual gigs and speak. I'm very much want to get my message out to people because I know that people need courage right now. Business leaders and their teams need courage right now. So I'm very excited about being able to get out and speak. And yes, I think there is another book. I think I will write another book, something along the lines of seeing your success by putting your courage into action or something like that. I would like to write a book about courage because I've got a lot more to say about courage.
Right. So, right now, a lot of people may want to redefine or go back and research their purpose. Or, they may have a vision because, like you said, the vision comes from inside and they're doing nothing with it. It's on the shelf. So this is a great way for them to, someone who can't see, to go out and buy your book, seeing by vision, not by sight. So I want to talk a little bit more about, about your faith, because, we go about in 2 Corinthians 5 and 7 and, walking by faith. So you walk by faith, not by sight every day. You live it, you breathe it. We recite it. We recite a verse. We recite 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. But tell us, what does it mean to live every day, to walk by faith and not by sight?
I think the main part of that is surrender. You have to surrender your will and I have to surrender my will and what I want to do to God and say, not my will, but yours. I have to trust him that he does have my back, and that while things don't look like starting to be a keynote speaker at the beginning of COVID is like crazy because there are no keynote talks happening. But, I've been able to give a couple of virtual presentations to people in India, interestingly, which was great. A bunch of teachers, talked to them. And I've been able to be on heaps of podcasts, which has been wonderful. So yeah, surrendering my will, trusting in God, and just not listening to the voice of fear that comes up in my head and goes, oh, you're crazy. You shouldn't be doing this. You should be doing something different. It's like, no, that's what God's told me to do. That's what I'm going to do. And just keeping your eyes on God and his word. That's what this beautiful coach, Regina Green, taught me to do, was recite the scriptures and put my name into it. Like Jeremiah 29:11, I have a plan for you. So I'd say, I have a plan for Amanda. God has a plan for Amanda. And he has a purpose for Amanda, and he has a job for Amanda to do, or Sherita, or you can put your name into the scriptures and they come alive and become yours, and the promises become yours.
Yes, and we know that God's promises are real. And Amanda, we know that you are an example of faith walk. Your journey alone helps empower and encourage others. And we're grateful that you gave us this opportunity to have you, we're using our platform to have you share your story. So Amanda, I just want to ask one quick thing about, and I want to just go back to you were saying earlier, you said you had a twin sister.
Yes, I did.
And
yes, I did.
You said your twin didn't make it. So are you only child? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Yes, I am. Yes.
You're an only child. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just asking that question because that's something that I wanted to know. And I'm sure our viewers would be interested in, just to see how your amazing journey, again, you walking by faith, not by sight, you put your faith into action. And,
Yes.
Amanda, we here at WYTV7, we want to thank you, Amanda, for letting your story become our story on What's Your Story. And to our viewers, we want you to go out and buy her book, for a stocking stuffer. Even Thanksgiving's coming up. You want to be, it's a way of showing someone else thank you, or telling someone else thank you. The name of her book is Seeing by Vision, Not by Sight. And we're just so glad to have her on our show. And we want to recognize, National Disability Month, and that's in the month of October, and American Breast Cancer Month, which is also in October. So here at WYTV7, we like to educate, encourage, and empower people, in our communities. So this is the way we give back every day. So I'm Sherita Williams, and I would like to thank you for being on What's Your Story? And again, thank you for sharing your story on What's Your Story. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.